Oh, by the way, okay. So thank you for listening. This is Christy with My Therapy Hat podcast. And today I have a guest, someone that I have worked with in the past. I get to work with in the present, in the future, starting soon. Hello, Miriam.
Hello, Christy.
How are you doing?
I am doing great.
So let's talk about this, me and you getting to work together again.
It's exciting. I love it.
You do? Why?
Yes. Because I feel like I can really trust you with where we're going to go in life.
Like a direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I showed you like what I have as a structure today.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like I need to have people that like I know are this passionate and this driven.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was saying, like, I brought up your text that you texted me earlier. I do believe that. I believe that like we have to look at things like as a positive. Like
Yes.
Things happen for a reason. Do you believe things happen for a reason?
I certainly do. Even if as bad as they are in life, they always happen for a reason.
We don't always know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who knew? Who knew you and I would be sitting here today?
Yes.
So I shot you out a few topics, and these were the ones that kind of landed. And one of them was feeling unaccomplished. I hear this, and like I said, I like to bring topics in that I hear in my therapy sessions. And this was one that was most recent, was feeling unaccomplished. And so I did a little research, like, oh, let's do. Let me read it. There are several factors that can contribute to feeling unaccomplished, including imposter syndrome. I'm going to skip that one because I don't know how to pronounce it. Comparing oneself to others, and the need to constantly strive for external validation. So, and I went down and I kind of pieced these out a little bit so we could talk about individual ones. So which one, and I know which one because you told me earlier, which one stood out to you?
Imposter syndrome.
Why?
I feel like we struggle with it so many times in life, especially when we go through things. Especially when we experience the bad things in life. And it's hard when we're going through it to realize that we're going through, it's not so much of an imposter, it's somebody that knew that we're becoming due to whatever life.
So doubting yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what it is. And there's like a fear. There's like, that I'm being a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, I think, and I don't know, because I was so busy today, I can't remember like how I said it, but I struggle with that all the time. Simply because, like, as a therapist, people are always thinking like we know the answer. I don't know all the answers. I don't have all the answers. One of the things I did learn in school was you have the answers. Maybe you're just too afraid to apply them or say them or approach them or, go for it. I don't know. But that's where, again, like moving into different roles, the clinical director role has been fairly new to me. And I do feel, I thought, oh my God, am I boosting myself up too much? Am I saying too much about myself? Am I over, stating what I know? And then I have to pull myself back and say, you know what? I've been doing this for over a decade. Of course I know some of this stuff, but that's where, again, like that imposter syndrome comes in. I start to doubt. So that's where we doubt ourselves. Micah, did you want to say something?
Me and Sarah were talking about this on the way over here, how I get that a lot with photography. Because I show up to a shoot and I'm like, I take a picture and I'm like, that's not going to be a good picture. That's a horrible picture. And then I edit it and send it off, and some people are like, that's my favorite picture. And I'm like, they're lying to me. It's like, that is not a good picture. But no, I get that a lot too with photography, is because I've been doing it for a while now. Mm-hmm. And it's to the point where I'm like, I know I'm good at it, but then there's times where I show up and I'm like, okay, this is my third time doing this event, but then I'm walking around and I'm like, well, crap. Is my lens not on correctly? Is my ISO not all the way up? Is it going to look blurry? Do I need to get new glasses? Like, these are things that come
it's
to
just
my
a smudge
mind.
on my glasses.
It's just a smudge. Yeah. So, no, I get a big imposter syndrome all the time.
Well, and it comes from, like, us comparing ourselves. That's another
Yeah.
one of them. You know, comparisons and competing with someone else. And that's the one thing I've had to learn. I had someone say to me a long time ago that, Christy, you're one of the most competitive people I know. Girl, listen. No, I'm not. And I told this person, I was like, really? You think that of me? Because to me, that was kind of like I'm competing with you to be right, to be better, to one up, you know. And I was like, really? You feel that way about me? And I was almost like
Offended,
like hurt. And this person starts telling me, you know, these things. And the more that she kept talking, I realized she's comparing herself to me, not the other way around. So I stopped her and I said, hold on. I need you to know something. I am super competitive with myself. Yeah. If I did this good last year, I'm going to do this even better this year. I'm competitive with myself. I push myself. I challenge myself. I'm your cheerleader. Go, do it, be better. If that's what you want to do, let's get there. Let me help you get there. And so the more I'm saying this, she's like, that's not who you are. That's not how you are.
That is.
Yeah. And I was like, I was offended because that's who I know myself to be. And I don't have to compete with you. I can champion you. Now I could be like, oh, well, yeah, Miriam's like really doing good. I kind of want to do good. How would I do good, Miriam?
Yes.
You know, that's how you achieve something. But then again, there's that I'm comparing myself. And that is one of these.
I think that's where I was telling you about the puzzle piece, where I see life as a puzzle. If we don't we can get the pieces where they belong and put them and arrange them. But if we look and we step back and we look at the whole thing, it's so many pieces. But we slowly have to get one and put it there. It's like going back to Michael, where he said that you've done it so many times, like 3 times already, you know, but we go back to competing with ourselves, not with other people's work, but with ourselves. And I think that's where it's like that little circle where it comes, and we just got to figure it out.
And I tell clients all the time, I say, you know, when you come in here, just throw the puzzle pieces down. We're going to put them together one piece at a time. And that's hard for people because they want to sit down and they want to put the whole puzzle together in one session. I'm like, oh my God, this is never going to work if you don't slow down, because I have to see the whole picture. Just like you, like, oh, and there's the missing puzzle piece. I have to be able to go, well, that's what's missing. There's what we need to work on. So again, that's us being competitive.
Could be overwhelming for them too.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is to come in and sit down, because I've had clients, and you know, you've sat with clients, you've sat in and did groups.
I actually did an exercise with the puzzle. I had one client sit down and I told him, okay, we're going to do a puzzle today. He looked at me like, why?
No, we're
He's
not.
like, what are we doing?
So slowly I started asking him questions, you know, and I slowly started putting them like, well, all these things, just think about it as a puzzle. You know, we see the whole picture right there. That's where we want to be in life. That's our end game.
That's the goal.
You see the cover of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's cool.
I
want that. And
yeah.
then you get the pieces all in a jumble, and you're like, oh crap, I gotta put it all together to get that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a feeling of overwhelm, and that's why people struggle with not being accomplished.
Yeah.
I see the whole picture. I see this picture on the cover of this, or on the box of this puzzle. That's what I want. But we've always told clients, you have to get there step by step, piece by piece. And that's when we don't follow that rule, piece by piece, step by step. There's steps to goals. And that's one thing I explain to clients. Okay, we're going to set this goal, but we've got to hit on these steps right here. We've got to walk these steps before we can get there. There's where we start to feel accomplished. When I can, and I tell people this all the time, write everything down that you've got to do. Everything. And I've had people like through the whole session. This has been a session before. And I'll go back to like when I was working with a high schooler one time. She comes in and she's just overwhelmed for the week of the prom or graduation. I can't remember which one because they were both big in her life. And she's just going out of control. And I said, write everything down that you have to do this week. Everything. The longer we sat there, it was like that puzzle. The longer we sat there and talked about it, she's adding things. 1 or 2 major things turned into like, I don't know, 20. So then I told her, out of all 20 of those, which ones, take 3, are the most important. As soon as she started numbering them and putting them in order, she was like, oh, I can do this. Yes,
easier.
you can accomplish this. You're choosing to look at the huge picture and overwhelm yourself. Then I told her, I said, as soon as you get these done, and she took the list, and her job was each thing that she got done, she was supposed to mark off. And I said, and then let yourself look at that and go, I accomplished that. Not just done. I accomplished that. So when she came back the following week, she brought back her list and everything was done except one. And I said, why isn't this one done? She goes, because I've been holding that out, and it had nothing to do with graduation or the prom. I can't remember which event. And she goes, because this is what I want to accomplish here. And I'm like, oh, so we started putting steps to that goal, because she learned steps, how to put the steps to feel accomplished. That little exercise, like your puzzle, it helps them feel accomplished when you can start seeing these pieces. But so that's those little pieces, those little steps to that goal. That's how we accomplish things. And so when I heard this client say this the other day, I just feel so unaccomplished. I was like, oh God, that's a topic.
There you go.
There's a topic. So and he kept trying to move from that. He just dropped that one little piece. He kept trying to move from that, and I kept going back. And he had a whole list of things on his to-do list by the time we got done. And then he started to be able to see the picture, why he was feeling unaccomplished, why. And a lot of it comes back to, I'm not focusing on me. I'm not taking care of me. I'm not listening to me. So you're saying, yeah,
because it goes back to us. We can sit here, you could tell me what steps, but that goes up to me which step I want to do first, which one. Everybody's going to take a different route. Everybody's going to take a different step.
Well, which is the most immediate? Because when I sit with clients, and I always ask, we make this list. Now, which is the most immediate? Which can you knock out right now? And I've even had clients, to this client that I'm talking about, okay, go do that right now while we're sitting here. Right now? Yeah. If you say that you can do it right now, we're going to do it right now. We're going to do it together. I'm going to watch.
Well, it's like cleaning a room. Like, we can go, us 3 can go and clean a room, but you might start at a bed. I'll clean the bed first. I could start washing my clothes, picking up the clothes, brooming, sweeping, different.
You're going to start differently. And that's why I've told this story before. I had a client come in one time and just overwhelmed, just a chaos, just a little ball of chaos, just bounced through my office. And, oh, Christy, I got to do all these things. No. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. Well, you got to tell me how to do them. You got to show me how to do them. Tell me how to do them. What do I need to do? And I'm like, oh my God, first we need to settle down, because I can't right now. And so I'm
overwhelmed.
Oh my God. So we calmed down, and I was like, tell me the story. So he told me the story. And I said, all right, grab that paper. Grab the paper, because this person thinks I'm really going to tell them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said, now number that paper 1 to 10. Okay. Diligent, man. Numbering. I said, now, what are you going to start with? This person got so pissed off at me. Well, I thought you were going to tell me what to do. I thought you were going to tell me what number 1 was. What do you want to do? What do you need to start with? Everything you've spilled out here on the floor today, I could look and say, oh, that's the easiest for me to do. What's the easiest? What's the most immediate? What can you take care of right now? That's the piece we want to plug in.
Yeah.
So that's what you're saying. And that helps me feel accomplished when I see that thing and I mark it off. I know that I took care of it. So feeling accomplished. I have just started this week feeling accomplished at work. I had so much I needed to do, so many notes I needed to pull together, and I started doing it. And now I'm like, oh man,
maybe I can get through the week.
I'm kind of feeling pretty accomplished. So we had the imposter syndrome. I don't even know what that second one is there, so I'm not even. But then there's the comparing self to others. that we've kind of bounced around that a little bit, you know, with a couple different stories, but comparing yourself to others, how I know in my mind how I'm thinking how that can help me feel unaccomplished, but what is your experience of that, Miriam?
My experience is at one point in life, I would look back at what other people were doing in my age at that time. And I felt like I was not accomplished because I would see what they had going on.
What they had accomplished.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've heard that from clients too. That, you know, that, well, I'm so-and-so's age and they have a house and kids and, you know, and I'm like, yeah, but you have different experiences than this person.
Yeah. Different steps, different backgrounds, different, so many things, you know, that play into that. But now every time that really happens or I start getting into that thought, what I do is I just look back and I look at my own life. So what did I have to overcome to get to where I'm at? Mm-hmm. And that makes me feel more accomplished in life.
So you reflect on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Micah?
Social media makes that harder.
Yeah.
Oh.
Much, much harder.
Yeah.
Because you
see the perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 21 years old and I just bought my second Lamborghini. And you're like,
no, you didn't. No, you did
I'm
not.
working at FedEx, dude. What am I doing wrong? That's what a lot of it is it's you see stuff like that and you're like, what am I doing wrong that he's doing right? Or what is she doing right that I'm doing wrong? And yeah, it's a lot of mental stuff that gets stuck in your head about that.
And being a mom, that I would have to say, like, social media, that was one of the things, because everything's supposed to look perfect. Your house is supposed to look perfect. Your kids are supposed to look perfect. Your marriage is supposed to be perfect. There was this account that I followed when you were younger that this lady would take pictures for Facebook, all in black and white. And her house, she had like 2 or 3 little kids. The house was never perfect. She was never perfect. And she'd post these things and it was called Messy Mommy, I believe. And I thought, this is great. Like, this is actually how life looks.
Yeah.
You know? This is actually what it is. And I remember when your sister was little, she would dress herself. So she would not always match. We had the princess dress with the cowboy boots and a purple beanie. Remember the purple beanie? Mm-hmm. This child wore the purple beanie for, I don't know, a couple years.
It was her favorite thing to wear.
We were like, can we please, like, wash the purple beanie? So she was always mismatchy, and that bugged my mom. Because my mom, if I had a dress on, I had the bow to match the dress, to match the shoes, to match the socks. It was everything. And I remember her making a comment about, you know, it not being perfect. And I just remember my grandma, I reflected back on something my grandma said was, I have to enjoy these moments. Like, there's always going to be time to pick up the house. There's always going to be time to have the perfect outfit. There's always going to be this time. Right now, when they're little or when, you know, you're going through it, it's not the time. And I thought, you know, things don't always have to look perfect. Mine's not always perfect. And it's even like I've said, and I've probably said it to you, like, if you've asked me a question, which you've asked me a lot of questions, I'm like, I don't know, let me find out. And that's just me being humble and being like, I don't have the answer. I have had those supervisors, those bosses that have been like, blah, 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 blah. They spout out something, and it's as far away from the truth or what I need to do as it can be. And that's because there's a competition with them to know it. I don't always have to know it. And that's what kind of growing up with Micah and his sister taught me, was like, I didn't have to know it all, you know? And I wanted to get away from that mindset that as a parent you had to know it all. And so that helped me come into this profession, because that was one of the things one of my professors said was, don't be a know-it-all. You are not, as the therapist, you're in the passenger seat. I'm not in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think we've worked well with clients, is putting them in that driver's seat.
Yeah.
Making it they're accountable. Mm-hmm. We're going to be here to support you. And that's one of the things that I've said to my staff all the time, because I learned this early. I'm not going to work harder than my clients. And if I feel like I am, I pull way back. And so that again is like, I don't have to compete with my client, with my staff, with anybody, because I don't always know it all. It's not always perfect. And that keeps me, I don't know, balanced from not falling into that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why?
So it goes back that circle.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to fall into that imposter syndrome, when you look at other people from the outside.
When I do see something that is perfect, then I'm like, there's no way.
There's
Or
no
if I
way.
know someone that like I see their house and it's all perfectly cleaned, I'm like, there's something off here.
Who died here? What murder are you trying to cover up?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. That's me
Exactly.
watching Dateline.
What skeletons are you hiding?
Yeah.
No, I went over to I hung out with a friend for the first time in a while, and like I went to the bathroom in their bathroom, and I could just see that they still had posters in their shower that they haven't put up, and I was like,
These are real people.
These are real people.
These are
I
my
know
peeps.
I know you are real. Thank you for that.
Well, and like you were saying, like you go to someone's house and it's like just pristine. Who are you trying to press? Because I'm just a real person. I could care less. You walked into my house today and I think I was rushing around because I had just barely got home. Is it perfect? Probably not. It's lived in. You know? It's clean. But that again, like I always think of that too. And your stepdad has helped me with that. Like I see someone driving down the street, someone, my age. This is how I started balancing things. If I saw someone my age driving down the street, like in a,
Like an Audi.
That's my car, man. An Audi.
That's why I
Just
said
give
it.
me an Audi.
That's why I said
Someone give me an Audi. I see that, and what he helped me like get into my mind was, do they really own it though?
Mhm.
Is that really theirs?
That's where the social media aspect. That's
Uh-huh.
why like I'm kind of glad I grew up with social media, because then I do see I just bought my third Lamborghini and I sold my second one for $4 billion, and I'm like,
No, you didn't.
who like your audience is 3 years old? Like, I just know that because it's not real.
Because that's a lie. But that's what being married to him and him being such a real person and like a realist. That's what he helped me realize was like, you can't always trust what you see.
Yeah.
And that's where again, like sitting in the therapy seat, they come in and they've got it all put together. Well, then why the hell are you here? I am sorry, but you do not need me.
I'll pay you.
Exactly. Let me just pay you to listen to your stories. I mean, my God. But that's what they come, they sit down, they want to give us the pretty picture. I don't want the pretty.
You want the-
Show me the ugly. Show me what's broken. Show me the piece that's missing. And so that again, like I keep going back to like that unaccomplished feeling, all of those things, the imposter syndrome, the comparing yourselves to others. What was the other one? The one I couldn't pronounce? I don't know. We're not going to say that one. There's the last one here that I didn't read. And the need for constantly striving for external validation.
So like happiness, like an external, like for
No,
people.
like if I'm validating you, I'm feeling and here's one of the things, like we'll get clients in there. I've gotten clients in there that, how am I going to put this? Like they, well, and I tell my kid, you're beautiful and you're talented and you're so smart. And I'm like, do you really think that that's what the kid's looking for? That's an external validation. What about teaching them internal validation? How to validate themselves, or how to like not focus on smart and pretty and, but to focus on, but you know what? It's okay to feel that way. And I had this one client that was talking like this to their kid, teenager, and I said, that's not what this kid wants to hear, but these are the things that I believe. And I said, you can believe that until the cows come home, but she doesn't believe that. She doesn't believe that she's beautiful, smart, So what is it that you can connect with? Well, she's always telling me how tired she is. oh, you know what? I know you're really tired. So why do you think you're tired? I said, if we start talking like that, we start validating that, well, I'm tired because, and then there could be a conversation of that, well, I feel really alone. Well, why do you feel so alone? Wanting to know, I said, you can go home and kind of practice these. I said, wanting to know why that person feels that way. There's where the lack of accomplishment is. But if you're constantly telling this person, but what if she's not living up to feeling pretty, to feeling smart, to feeling these things that you're putting out there, almost your expectations, then you're giving external validation that's not touching me, that's not speaking to me. And this client, she sat there and she started crying. And I was like, well, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. And
the gate has opened.
Floodgates. There we go. I love making people cry. I'm kidding.
Sitting there, you're like, yes.
And I put in my notes, made her cry.
Accomplished.
Because when that
you want some tissues?
Just slide them across the table. Some tissues to your left there, baby girl. But when that happens, it's because I think, and I've had clients tell me, I never thought of it that way. And I know they're not thinking of it that way. I'm thinking if I give you external validation, then what happens is if I don't feel accomplished, I seek that. Mm-hmm. Instead of learning how to validate myself or trying to figure out what it is that I need to do to feel accomplished. And that's what I was telling you today. Like I had to totally pivot on a situation today. And because I was feeling disappointed, this, that, the other. But had I sat there and like reached out to you needing your validation, I wouldn't have been able to come to you with like, well, here's what I did. Here's the solution. But that was, again, like I've had to learn how to validate myself because that external validation isn't always accurate. And I can't always, if I'm seeking that, then there's going to be this lingering feeling of unaccomplished for me.
I think when it comes to like kids and parents can tell us like, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're this, you're that, and let's say you're more about the beauty, right? Mm-hmm. It's a parent that's more about the beauty. And then for me, it's not about the beauty. It's about being smart. It's about things like that. I'm always going to be looking for that extra validation in being smart, setting up myself for these accomplishments, but then feeling like a failure because I'm looking for that validation from you, but you're never going to see it.
You're never hitting the right chord.
Yeah.
You're just one off. And again, like that's a good point to make. So if I'm constantly seeking that, there's that feeling of I'm not accomplished. Mm-hmm. I'm not good enough. And so that's where, again, we had to circle back around to you have to take care of yourself. We have to learn how to talk to ourselves. Yeah. I had to learn how to validate myself that if I'm feeling a certain way, I just feel this way. If I, let myself go like I did last week because I just wasn't feeling good, I literally have to let myself be sick.
Yeah.
Be pathetic.
Because why? I don't know, but I just have to go through it in order to get back to where I want.
I just have to go through this right now. But so all of these things lead up to we have to recognize these things. The imposter syndrome, those things are real and contribute to me not feeling accomplished. Comparing myself to others. I had to quit doing that a long time ago because it's like I told Micah and Mia. There's always going to be someone smarter than you, prettier than you, better than you, richer than you, all the things more than you.
That's what I tell myself every day before I go to sleep.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding.
But no, I told
you. Like, oh shit.
But I followed that with, but you're always going to be that for someone else. So be the best you can be. Because again, if someone's comparing themselves to you, that we need to support them that no, you need to be you.
Yeah.
Don't try to be me. And that's like one time I think it was, Let's just point to my hair. So when you dropped out or quit going to school, college, he comes home. This is what he tries to throw at me. Okay. Well, I'm just not as smart as you, and I can't be on the dean's list, and I'm not going to graduate magna cum laude. And he's throwing all my accomplishments at me. And I'm like, no. What you're not going to do is you're not going to throw me at me now. I had no other choice but to do that because of the position, the experience that I was in, that I was going through. You can't compare you to me. And so now, of course, he's gone back to school and wants to be a therapist like his mom. So, and then,
I turned over a new stone.
aw, look at you.
And I was like, yeah, I have to go to school to do this.
And then there's the last one, which was the seeking external validation. That's always going to leave me feeling empty. Mm-hmm. If you have to tell me what I need to be telling myself, I might not ever hear that. I might hear the wrong thing. So let's try to work on talking better to ourselves, validating ourselves, letting ourselves feel, hearing ourselves. We have to work on us before we can validate, compete with other people. I don't know. I don't want to compete with anybody. I'm good.
I compete with myself.
I do. I compete with me. I'm like the worst competitor of myself because then I judge myself. Do you find yourself doing that?
I'm editing pictures by the pixel and then I zoom out and I'm like,
what?
They're not going to notice that. What the hell?
No. We kind of need to give, and here's where we're going to stop. We kind of need to give ourselves grace because we aren't going to be perfect. We're not going to be someone else. We have to be able to listen to ourselves. And the only way to feel accomplished is by giving ourselves grace, is by saying, sometimes I don't know, and feeling accomplished. Feeling accomplished means you might just get something done. If you just write it on a little list. That's what everybody needs to do. Write yourself a little to-do list.
A daily to-do list.
A daily to-do list.
Weekly to-do list.
And put on the top of that, talk nice to myself. Validate myself.
Clean that room that you want to clean.
Or get some rest.
Because
that could be an accomplishment.
Or do a puzzle.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be chore-like.
Or don't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I just want to sit there and not do a damn thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And by that, and then when, 5 or 6 episodes have gone by, I'm like, man, where'd the time go?
Yeah.
But I did nothing. I accomplished that. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Miriam. And thank you for listening to my Therapy Hat podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and following on Instagram and Threads. I've added Threads. I'm a threader. I don't know if that's what they call it.
I have no clue.
I know because Twitter was tweeting. Threader is threading.
Sure.
I thread.
Let's make that a thing.
I'm gonna make that a thing. I thread.